Welcome back to Black Clover Anime Review. Episode number, it's like 8, I think it's 98. Let's see. Yeah, 98. This one discussed the 145th episode of the anime Rescue. This episode kind of mostly wraps up this arc, but at the end we have another plot twist. Okay, this episode is a titular Rescue, where we have most of the Magical Knights, pretty much the entirety of the Black Bulls. Even Zora appears in this episode, which, like, really? Zora? After he appears, like, in this filler stuff, in this original stuff, he's appeared, like, one episode prior to this, in its own standalone episode. And here he plays a very small role. Vanessa, who was also absent last episode, she pops up and she doesn't do much of anything at all. She shows up. She, of course, is one of the people in the crowd. Two people basically pull away from the crowd. And instead of basically trying to think, oh yeah, let's fight her. And instead of fighting her, they decide to commit suicide. Okay, I don't know why, but they did. So, these devil breakers took the crowd hostage with dirty tricks. And they want Asta to come out. So, Asta comes up. But is this Asta? Nope. Of course, Damito basically said, let's have us not play a really big role. And then, of course, he does in the background. And you think this is Asta, but nope, it's actually Gray in disguise. So, he ends up freeing Mari. Good on him. But still can't get Nero. Nope, can't get Nero. And, of course, these devil breakers use dirty tricks to get away. And of course, all the Magic Knight captains basically all chip in, and then all of a sudden, Yuna comes out of nowhere. Well, Yuna was seen briefly part of this, like on some island. This presumably is in the same area, so he briefly fights against them, and of course they get away. Mimosa treats, well, because she's a healer, she treats Mari, and then of course, well, the devil breakers get away, but they take one of the masks. And it turns out some of these devil breakers just hired goons. Okay, so like all of them are there, like all the previous night captains are there, who were there from last meeting, and this time they had William Bonches there because he was out patrolling the border, just to keep an eye on the Space Kingdom, just in case they want to take advantage of the situation. Okay, perfectly fine. And then of course they show the memory, and of course Damito confirms that yes, his subordinates are behind this. He basically takes full responsibility for it, and then something really weird happens, where a messenger shows up, where he gets a message from his top subordinate, where, oh yeah, and also Asta had hand over his grimoire in exchange for Mari, which he does get her. And apparently the true villains in this arc are not the Devil Breakers, but the Devil Believers. I'm like, what? The Devil Believers. Those who worship the devil. Oh yeah, and all devil breakers we've been seeing this arc, yeah, they all apparently got killed off screen. I'm like, what? Why the heck would you do that for? It's like, oh, let's just get rid of these villains, probably because the people who work on this particular arc probably got bored with them and just had them all get killed off, and it revealed the true villains of this arc, the Devil Believers. Okay, who the heck are the Devil Believers? We'll probably find out next week. Like, okay. I like the fact this episode... Oh, yeah, and also... Goosh reunites his sister, which that was quite nice. Yeah, during the actual thing, before the whole thing started, he basically... Yami told Asta and Goosh not to get involved, but... Well, Asta did kind of did, but Goosh didn't. And... Yeah, it's kind of... interesting, though. Oh, yeah, and also... Fenrir gets a chance to briefly get involved, try to rescue Nero, but he gets basically blasted with a bunch of paper knives. Like, they're paper knives, unless of course they're magically enhanced. It might actually hurt him, so he gets spooked away. Also use drugs. I'm like, what? I'm like, okay. I think the reason why, and this is just my personal theory of why the people working this arc got rid of Devil Breakers, probably because the viewers basically didn't really care for these guys because these people are nothing more than dirty cheaters. I mean, they use drugs and they cheat. And we barely get any. And here's the thing: the Magical Knights barely fight them. Yeah, it's like they use dirty tactics just to beat them. Like, why? And my guess is just my opinion, anyways. I think because the Devil Breakers were getting somewhat of a negative reaction from the viewers that no one cared for these characters. So let's just have them all get killed off by some unseen force who whoever thinks is the real villain of this arc, and the Devil Believers. Okay, but okay, I'm like okay. The thing with this original stuff, I mean, I've liked what they've done with this stuff. It's been really good. I like the revisiting. The Devil Vanish stuff is completely original. It's not something they previously revisited like they previously for this arc. But wow, it's kind of like this is basically something that probably like okay, this is something that this could explain why Damito is not in the current arc. Yeah, because he was in the manga, he was in the arc this arc continuation of, but he is not in the current arc. It's unknown what happened to him. And from the look of it, it looks like though, like throughout all these episodes so far of these Amaretto stuff, the Black Bulls have gone through a little bit of training, not much, but who knows? But yeah, not much else to say this episode. It's just, well, it's okay. I think it's executed perfectly fine. I think the voice actors do fine. I think the weakness of this episode is the villains. Yes, the Dealbreakers, in my opinion, are probably by far, for all the villains who popped up in Black Clover, probably the worst villains I have ever seen. The entire series. There is nothing that much interesting about these characters. Like, okay, these guys basically are affected by I Midnight Sun. And it's like, okay, let's just have these people who apparently really wanted to see these people get executed, despite the fact they have nothing to do with the devil, very little at all, this devil creature. Despite the fact, the easy point out there during the trial, yeah, they killed devil responsible for who caused the whole stuff with the elves. Yeah, he killed it. And like this one guy's like, oh, we have to execute him right now. And Amina's like, no. I'm like, okay. So him being told no means that he needs to form his own group to kill Asta and reveal that, oh yeah, he was actually just a lackey for the real villains of this arc. Okay. That's the best I can guess of it when it comes to this particular arc. Yes. Like, that's basically my biggest problem with this arc, is the villains. The Dawnbreakers are complete utter nonsense. Their justification for this is kind of weird. And it's kind of also odd, though. We introduce these brand spanking new characters. I think it's been just 3 episodes as their introduction. And then you just kill them off for, like, no reason. Okay. So, who are the believers? We'll find out next week. Also, there's no Petty Clover one with this episode. Nope, they didn't have one. They had one last week, but not this week for some reason. I don't know why, but that's the way it is. Okay, so that's the episode review. I might have time to do one more video tonight, and that'll be a review for Dr. Stone. So, until the next video, bye.